Peace and love, good people. Peace. Peace, peace. Peace, everybody. Hope everybody could hear me well. The goddess Sugar Free is in the building. Just checking really quickly on my things on my end. Making sure that I am well. Peace to everybody and anyone in the building today. I'm just over here checking my little stuff, making sure that I'm in the clear, and it looks like that I am. Okay. Looks like I'm good to go. Peace and blessings to anyone. Let me check with my peeps to see who is in the building. Oh, yes, we have some people in the building. Salute to the good family. Okay. Anybody that is in the building, salute to you. I see the king, DP Rocka, the first one with the love in the chat today. Salute to you, King DP. Always a blessing to see you. Thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday. We got the King Heru in the building. Salute to you. He said, get Coleslaw Davis the throat out of boxing, King. You already know we're going to go into all of that. Okay, we will divulge as far and as deeply and as intelligibly as we can on the matter at hand. So definitely stay tuned. Salute to the King Todd Swindle in the building. We got my lovely twin. Hey, Daryl, my twin. What's up to you, King? Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me with your nines and your roses in the building for me. Thank you, King. Big love. Big love to the King Kano. Let me know if you guys could hear me okay. All right? Y'all know what to do. Put some nines in the chat, of course, if I am audible. Salute to the King Slim Hussein in the building. Always dope to see you, King. Shout out to you. Definitely. We got my beautiful sister Cameron Fields in the building. Hey, my beautiful sis. What's up, Sunflower? Always beautiful to have you in the building, beautiful sister. Salute to you. I hope all is well. We got the King Freedom's March 10 toes on deck as usual. Salute to the King Freedom. Nice to see you. Yes, indeed. We got somebody named Lindsay Hobson who says, what's up, Queen? We here, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining the King Demo. We got Savage 410 in the building. We got the King Scythe in the building on deck. If you notice, King Scythe, I have wrenched you up because last time I forgot to. So I went back and did that for you, King. Good to have you in the building. Salute to Anthony Latham. Yeah, you guys, come on in the room. Salute to the King Prize. I see you. What's up, my people? Lovely to see you guys. Definitely come on in because we have a lot. Oh, child, we have a lot to discuss this evening, you guys. Of course, all of this predicating upon the past week that we have witnessed since our last meeting last Sunday. A lot of things to talk about. You're welcome, King Scythe. You're welcome. We have a lot of things to divulge, you guys. I am thinking about, oh, we got the King No Cap in the building. I definitely got a wrench No Cap up. Speaking of wrenches, salute to the King UK, as I call him. The King No Cap in the building. Salute to you. Thank you for joining. Yo, do we have things to discuss, you guys, or do we have things to goddamn discuss? What is going on? What is going on in this wild, wild west of boxing? Wasn't it so that a few months ago I entitled one of our live discussions, The Wild, Wild West of Boxing? I think Sugar Free is really like on some Miss Cleo shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like I'll be really tapped in, ahead of the game sometimes on certain things. And what a wild, wild west we have been in for, you guys, over the past week. I am absolutely speechless. Absolutely and unequivocally speechless about the past week that we had. Thank you, King Daryl. Audible and clear. I'm glad. Because sometimes I don't know if things are too low. I don't know what's going on there. Thank you, King. Crazy times in boxing, you guys. And, all that has taken place has really been, I couldn't help but to ask, what is going on with boxing? And even deeper than that, the question that I posit is, is boxing as we know it going asunder? Is boxing going asunder, you guys? What is really going on? Is there a capsizing of the boxing that we have long loved, that we have long respected and admired? Is all of that being capsized and flipped completely on its back and thrown completely out the window and discarded? Is all that we know being disposed of in boxing, particularly with members of this new era, the people who are supposed to be ushering in a new consciousness, a new bloodline, new fresh hands, fresh eyes, fresh talent added to the table? These people, instead of adding, they are subtracting life force, in my view, from this sport. It is very parasitic in nature on many levels. As I sit back, engage the landscape that is at hand currently with particular members of note, or who are supposed to be of note within the sport. Very, very questionable things on the table at hand for us, you guys, with the observing of the antics of the past week since we last convened. And much of this has already been kind of like a theme at the forefront, bubbling up to the surface in little ways as we have been seeing, because all of us real ones here have been taking notes, have been being made privy to a lot of the things that have been rising up to the surface that we found to be, signs of a disapproving nature, in other words, right? We have been here observing things, little things popping up to the surface that we're like, uh-oh, what's going on here? I don't approve of that. Why is that happening? Little things going on over there that's like, why is nobody talking about this? This could be a potential problem in the long haul. And meanwhile, many of us real ones who speak out and have been speaking out about these little semblances and signs and notions that we've been peeping along the way. A lot of people have tended to look toward our direction as if we were just making a big deal about these little quarrels that we were presenting to the table, as if we were making a big deal about pointing out all types of variations of inconsistencies. Okay? All types of shades of dismay or potential aspects that could bring further dismay to the integrity of the sport. And many tried to cast us aside as if we just wanted to hear ourselves speak out loud. And they were so ready to not pay attention to what it was that we were actually calling light to. And it isn't because they were unknowing about the situations being presented at hand. It's because they did not want to confront or change those particular things that we found to be issues. In fact, I would posit that the very things that we have been calling out as issues within this sport, or potential issues within the sport, are the very things that those people want to maintain. Want to maintain and uphold. And here now we see a culmination, a composite that has absolutely culminated for the worst last evening. And now everybody all of a sudden wants to complain about it. Everybody all of a sudden wants to hold their mouths and point their fingers outward in the direction of the trouble. Right? But 2 freaking, minutes or seconds earlier, they were just on their knees for that particular person or that particular antic or the showing out and displays of all types of charades. They were just giving their approval in myriad other instances. But now everybody's up in arms and in shock. How convenient. How convenient. And even though it is a disgrace, I cannot help but posit my thought that it's all the more convenient because the antic is being displayed and evinced by a black elite male or someone who is very much on his way to be a black elite male within this sport. It is easier for people to cry, oh, disgust, oh, outrage. This is a horrific occurrence. Everybody's so comfortable to do that now when it's being exemplified by somebody of our culture who is absolutely misguided and absolutely at fault beyond repair, in my view, at this particular point. But how convenient that there was no cry of outrage for drug cheating in this sport. When not only weight bullying can pose and threaten a fighter's life, but drug cheating can do that and then some. No outcries over the past year, or even previous to that, or even as recently as last week when we had Jaime Munguia popping dirty, another fighter out of the Reynoso stable. No outcry. We barely got articles written about it. But everybody is so quick to run and point a finger and look at the spectacle called Keshan Davis. Not that he is not deserving of the castigation and lambasting he is receiving. Every type of censuring that this man is receiving right now is owed. But let's not pick and choose where we put the fire down. Get down where you mad at. Anytime a level of unprofessionalism is exemplified or exhibited, people have to be held accountable for their behavior, and they have to be taking responsibility for that behavior and output. Let's not be one-sided. Let's not marginalize our outrage. Let's not be selective, choosing where to turn a blind eye to, as if all of these other instances and matters that are occurring in this sport have little significance. That is a falsity. So that I am positing that the boxing world and boxing fans alike, and whatever platform or medium you are, operating from, need to begin to take issue when the issues are presented in real time, and begin to hold these fighters accountable, because apparently these fighters have gotten so comfortable within this current landscape and climate that they think that they can do some shit that Keshan and his brothers pulled last night. That people have gotten so comfortable that they think that they can do on a mass level, on an unapologetic level, all the things that we've seen of Teofimo Lopez and the cowardly displays of Ryan Garcia. And we can go on and on and on and on. Cowardly things of Jaime Munguia and that whole Reynoso stable. We can go on and on and on with our examples. So that the climate is such that what has been created is allowing for these displays of lack of professionalism, lack of sportsmanship, lack of care, lack of respect for the sport. When is it going to end? It will only end when no space is made, when the tolerance level has been set to 0. People have to begin to think twice about the actions exhibited and taken within the sport, because they need to know that there is a penal system. There is a means of reprimanding that they will meet and face when they participate in such despicable, careless displays of sportsmanship and professionalism. That's exactly how I feel right now. Keshan is but a culmination. He is but a symptom of a much larger issue outside of boxing. But within boxing, he is but a symptom of a lot of the underhanded, misguided, pompous, prematurely conceited, mindset that is running rampant in this sport that has been tearing particularly the 135 division apart since Devin Haney left, dropped his belts, and moved on. It's a level of pompousness. It's a level of, knowing that he will not be castigated. It's a feeling of being able to bypass penalty that is causing this behavior, which we will get into in just a second. You guys, all I could really ask, in the aftermath of all of this is what the hell did we just witness as boxing fans this weekend, you guys? Like what did we just witness? Like the concept of having to wrap my mentality around all of the things, like I said, that have been culminating, that have been building over the past, 3-4 years and beyond, real talk. And then coming from all of that into a composite, you know what I'm saying? And now seeing it all, kind of turn on its head the way that it did in this particular instance with Keshan Davis and his family last evening. I just had to sit back and say, what the hell is it that we are witnessing? Why are things going asunder within this new generation of boxers and fighters? What's going on here? What is this turn signifying? What is the larger issue at hand? We need to begin to be, asking those questions as a boxing community at large, because I believe that it is everybody's responsibility, to begin implementing or at least demanding that these questions get answered in real time, honestly and holistically. Keshan Davis and his brothers showed up like absolute disgraces, you guys, in their behavior, in their output, and everything that was exhibited by these young men. It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that, I really am blown away. I really find it to be mind-blowing as I sit back in the aftermath of all of this, picking the pieces together and wondering about the future of that young man. Wondering about, the future of these young boxers who don't have it together, who don't have a semblance of guidance, who don't have a connection to history, who are obviously forfeit and devoid of culture and history and understanding and pride on any level. I'm astonished. I'm puzzled. You know what I mean? I can't say how bewildered I am. I am dumbfounded, by the level of imbecility. If I'm going to keep it a buck, imbecility was displayed last night. Carelessness, ignominious behavior, shameful behavior, in other words. That's what I saw of those men. It's hard to wrap one's mind, you guys, around the depths of how far removed people can be from their own integrity. From their own integrity. But that's exactly what we saw displayed last night. That's exactly the case at hand with those young men. And it's so unfortunate. I do not understand why these men would opt for the despicable, senseless degrading of their own family name. Their own family name. Just to get on some fake tough guy shit out here for some points? Was it for some points? some G points out here you thought she was going to get? Absolutely outrageous to me. All because your brother lost a boxing match? A professional boxing match that's going to feed you, him, your kids, your mammy, your Grammy, every goddamn body? A professional setting? Y'all wasn't out here on no goddamn street corner. Y'all wasn't out here beefing on, you know what I'm saying, in front of the goddamn liquor store some goddamn where. Y'all in a professional setting. Millions of dollars, substantial amounts of money on the line for you to display your talent. For you to have the avenue, the very avenue that you chose for yourselves. That Keshan went to the Olympics twice for. That his brothers followed suit in their own pursuits to try to achieve for themselves. Investments were made so that you can live that out and display your talent and gather and capture the hearts of the world who is in support of you. And you fumble that. You soil that. You discredit that. And for what? Because your brother didn't win the fight? It's insanity. The senselessness is absolutely dumbfounding to me. I've got serious questions surrounding those brothers. Serious inquisitions as to, what the sport as a whole is worth to some of these people within this new particular era that we are in. Because obviously it don't mean shit to some of these young kids. Or should I say young men, because they are not children. I call them kids, of course, because I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm older. But, you know what I mean? To me, I look at them as that. But they are young men. And they are acting childish. The behavior is childish, such that I tend to call people by their goddamn names. They are behaving like infants. Infantile behavior. Childish behavior. But the reality is that they are not children. The mentality is just at an absolute lack right now. Absolute deficit of mentality and togetherness within them. What is this game worth to this new era is another inquisition that I have. So many questions, you guys. So many question marks are flooding in my mind. And I'm sure it's the case for some of y'all as well. A lot of you guys who are paying attention. I don't even know really where to begin prodding as far as our discussion today. Because this is really one of the most unprofessional, disrespectful, self-debasing things that I have seen in boxing. Of recent memory that I can recall. This is definitely on the list. One of the most disappointing unfoldings that I have been, privy to. But I guess that we could start here. Of course, we are all, enlightened about the sham of Keshan missing weight during the week. He came in over 4 pounds over the weight limit. Over 4 pounds. I believe it was something like 4.3. Okay? Fight was scheduled for 35. Man came in a goddamn super lightweight. All right? And that's for the fight that was scheduled against De Los Santos, originally scheduled. I think any of us real ones looking in at this and saw that weigh-in, knew off rip at that weigh-in when he got on that scale and got off that scale with a grin on his face that he was absolutely deliberate in the move that he made coming in overweight. Keshan had no intention whatever to make weight for this fight. No intention whatsoever. The man threw all caution and integrity to the absolute motherfucking wind, you guys. No care out here. He resolved to come in overweight. He resolved to come in that ring against De Los Santos and in danger, because we got to keep it all the way a buck here. He resolved to come in there and endanger that man in order to get his name on his resume. Didn't give a damn. And he wanted to get that name of De Los Santos on his resume because he wanted to do it in a much more devastating fashion than Shakur Stevenson, his quote unquote bro, did. He wanted to do it more devastatingly than Shakur Stevenson, who fought De Los Santos about a year and a half ago. That was his mission, Keshan Davis. Oh, I'm going to do it better. I'm going to one him up. And he knew that De Los Santos comes in there cracking, that he is known to have power in addition to his boxing. He brings that pressure. He is known for that. And so Keshan did not want to run the risk, I posit, of fighting another puncher like himself without having some extra padding, if you will. He didn't want to go in there fighting somebody like him who can crack too. Suffice it to say that De Los Santos, you guys, has been out of the ring since his fight with Shakur Stevenson. Out of the ring since then. And that was back in November of 23. This fight with Keshan was going to be De Los Santos, the return of De Los Santos. That's his first return since fighting Keshan. That was going to be his first fight since having this long layoff of about a year and a half, nearly 2 years. However, what makes things even more insidious here, you guys, is that Santos, during his time off, not only was he dealing with a long layoff, but De Los Santos had been dealing with a condition that nearly killed this man. Could have killed him, threatened his life. A blood clot was found in the leg of De Los Santos since his time out of the ring, since his fight with Shakur Stevenson, and this man had to be hospitalized because of this. Hospitalized. So that the mere fact that this man De Los Santos got through that, through this life-threatening instance, is crazy. And the fact that he triumphed over that, came through that instance, is a feat in and of itself, to say the least. And not only did he overcome his medical condition, but this man had the nerve and the heart to get himself into a fight camp after not having fought all this time. Get himself into a fight camp, get back in decent enough shape to have a title fight in his first return. Put some respect on De Los Santos' name. Just resonate on that for a little bit, y'all. I need that to permeate in your minds. Now, this man De Los Santos comes prepared to fight. Okay? He is there. He is showing up and ready to do it. After having put all of this work in, after having made his sacrifices, this is him showing up. And he gets there only to find that his opponent, the supposed quote unquote champion and the supposed quote unquote budding star of the division is playing in his motherfucking face by coming in overweight. Ain't that some shit, y'all? Missing weight on the scales. And not only missing weight, but mockingly posturing around that stage carelessly, as if the lives of both of them aren't already on the line outside of him being overweight. 4.3 pounds. Y'all got to understand how devastating this is and how severe this is. The boxing community needs to know that. Needs to know how unacceptable this is whenever it rears its head. I know that my good people and I in the building today have come across, some disgusting, rhetoric over the past, let's say, year, particularly as it pertains to the young King Devin Haney and racist Riri Garcia, right? We have seen across all spectrums disgusting rhetoric surrounding the whole scandal that these men have come off of, or should I say, Riri had caused, the debauchery over that past year with his coming in overweight for their fight last year and his drug cheating, in addition to the other disgusting folly that ensued. People have been delusionally posting that Devin Haney was a weight bully and supposedly beating up on people. I don't know, unfairly. He's so big, or why don't he go fight David Benavidez and all this crazy shit, insinuating all types of false, trumped up accusations about Devin Haney. And Devin Haney has never once in his entire career missed weight. Not once in his boxing life. That needs to be understood. Yet it didn't stop any of the rumors getting generated about him. They were ready to castigate somebody who never committed such a crime of weight bullying or coming in overweight or performance enhancing drugs or any level of unprofessionalism in his entire career. It took nothing at all for the boxing world to censure and seek to lambaste this young man in an effort to thwart and smear his name in this sport, all because of the things he had been achieving and looking to achieve furthermore in his career. No one at any time of the incident with racist Riri, even up until this point, you guys, has ever referred to racist Riri as a weight bully, even though he was against Devin Haney last year. In addition to his drug use, not once called a weight bully to this day by the general media, let alone being called a drug cheat. They avoid it at all costs. And he is the culprit. He committed the act. And he is not called by his name, which is a cheater and a coward and a weight bully and a drug cheat and every goddamn thing else you want to add to that list. Juice to his damn neck and overweight. And it was Devin, all the while, that was being charged as the weight bully. You hear people saying it right now. Oh, Devin, he was too big. Oh, well, he don't get no credit because he fought such and such and he was too big. And, why don't he move up? And you heard people go fight Boots. Now he's here. And that's not even good enough. This man is ready to fight Boots. Boots on a hit list. And they find something else to goddamn complain about and try to berate him about. But that's besides the point. The example that I'm positing to you is that Devin was still being charged as a weight bully, and he never came in overweight. He never showed a lack of professionalism as a sportsman. And the person that did was not castigated or reprimanded whatever. So that here we are now with Keshan Davis, taking a page out of racist Riri's book with this coming in overweight over 4 pounds. And before the official scandal commenced, as far as what took place yesterday, because I'm talking about the weigh-in, I didn't get to the fight yet. Before everything commenced with what we saw last evening of the actual fight itself, at that time, you guys, of Keshan coming in 4 pounds overweight, am I lying or no? Not a fucking soul in the general media called Keshan a weight bully. What day was that? Thursday or Friday, whatever day that they did the weigh-in. Not a single outlet referred to Keshan Davis after having come in 4 pounds. Nobody called him a weight bully. Ain't that interesting? Because I surely was waiting to see it. Not a soul called him a weight bully. Not a soul even questioned if he should be deemed a weight bully. Even as this chump was grinning on the stage, while he was on the scales, nobody called him a weight bully. Even in the face of this man disrespecting his own city and the larger boxing world that showed up in support of him in his first title defense, called him a weight bully. Yet here he is, tipping the goddamn scale over from being overweight. Absolutely appalling. Not a soul called Keshan a weight bully, you guys, during that weigh-in. Y'all know what I'm talking about, because none of y'all saw it either. This is because Keshan was ready to be let off the hook at that particular point. Nobody could foresee what was bound to happen last evening, but at that particular moment, he was ready to be let off the hook by the general media. People were still ready to cuss at him and coddle him and baby him. Pass it off, bypass the issue as a whole. Oh, well, he got stripped of the belt, but no lambasting was in the building. They were ready to let him off the hook to a large degree, despite his behavior. And this is the goal of the agenda's fulfillment at hand. At this particular point, there was no such bashing for him missing weight as there was for Devin Haney, who had never done such a thing in his career. You need to be aware of the differentiation I'm positing to you today. You need to see it clearly that they were ready to bypass any type of penalization or public castigation as far as the public forum is concerned. No discourse of disapproval was geared toward Keshan Davis in any way whatsoever when he weighed in overweight. That was the general consensus. This is aside from the real ones who was already holding his ass to the stake for doing so, of course, like myself and the other brothers and sisters that we love out here on business. But that general media had no parlance of disapproval surrounding Keshan Davis. The way they are ready to swarm around rumors that are not even true about the young king, Devin Haney. Had to paint that picture here today. It's very imperative to understand what type of atmosphere and agendas are at work. Now, many of us were on the King BFTB's live stream last week when we got the news breaking, okay, of the decision, and of everything that was unfolding in real time. And the news that came out of De Los Santos and his, team's decision to pull the fight and not proceed with the fight. Shout out to the King, BFTB, who was giving us some, minute by minute, second by second information from some sources that he had. And of course, within the following minutes, all the other major outlets were, sharing, that information that BF had broke on his page. Now, the promoter of De Los Santos is called Samson Lekowicz. Lekowicz, I believe that's how you say his name. That is the promoter of De Los Santos, you guys. And he is the one who said, I'm not trying to hear that shit. I'm not trying to hear that shit. He saw Keshan on that scale. He heard the weight and he said, not today. Not on my watch. Shout out to the promoter and the team of De Los Santos because they prioritized the safety and health of their fighter over financial gain. They had the intelligibility and the wherewithal as a team to discuss it and to decide to divert from any of the distractions of being, the main event and, this being under the lights and all the celebrities that came in support and the mayor and everybody, is in attendance and, all the glitz and the glamour. He said, no, the health and safety of this fighter is more important because I know what he just came through. No, we will not proceed with this fight. The life of my fighter is not going to be put in the balance on my watch. All right. And interestingly enough, he made a decision based on an example that he learned from. And he learned this example via a precedent that was set for him a year ago. And that example is that of the King Devin Haney and the fight with Ryan Garcia. He learned from that example and he cited the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight and scandal last year as being an example he did not want to repeat. He did not want to repeat a mistake as was commenced last year between Ryan and Devin. He didn't want to make that mistake. He learned from Devin's mistake. Lukowitz learned from Devin Haney, okay? He took notes on that particular situation. And he made the corrections in real time when it came to his own fighter, De Los Santos. Shout out to him. As he should have. You should be taking notes. You should be learning from the past and standing on it to infuse your steps. You don't know where you've been. You don't know where you're going. That man looked at that example and said, nah, we're not going to go in that direction. We're going to turn right at the corner. Miss me with that. We're not going to go through with that. Samson, the promoter, made a statement to Ring Magazine. And he said the following. This is a quote, you guys. He said, quote, I saw Davis, meaning Keshan. I saw Davis dancing on the scale. After 30 years, I know boxing and I know boxers. That's when I realized that he never trained to fight at 35. He trained to fight at 40. And money does not buy health. I am responsible for the health of my fighter, and I would not allow him to fight. End quote. Big respect to that man. This is precisely the stance that he should have taken. Earlier that day, I was calling for that. Before, anything had even broken, I was calling for that. Right after the weigh-in, before they even deliberated upon what they were going to be doing or any particular finalities. I said they should call this fight off. They should cancel this shit, pull the plug on it. And so when he ultimately made the decision to do that, along with De Los Santos and the rest of the team, I was highly pleased. It did not feel right to me. Okay? That's the stance he should have taken, especially when we take into account, the previous medical conditions and everything else that he had come off on, added into the equation of all the other natural, embedded, latent risks that come along with the boxing fight. You got to factor in that condition as well. And that's what he did. And he said, we're not going there. You guys, I saw Keshan on those scales too. And I think much of the world who are cognizant, took a gander at Keshan on those scales and, pretty much felt and thought the same thing, you guys. I looked at that man on those scales and everything about me was turned completely off. Completely off. He's a grinning. He's looking from side to side. They say that, his 139 point, whatever the hell it was, he flexing his arms, grinning his damn teeth, looking dismissive and careless. I was completely turned off. He faced off with De Los Santos. I was turned off. Then I saw De Los Santos, right after that, face-off weigh-in, whatever, and he was going towards the interviewers. He gave a brief interview after that weigh-in, and of course he was asked about how he felt regarding Keshan coming in so far above the weight, and the look on De Los Santos's face, of course his demeanor was professional. He looked like he did not want to complain too much. Because, of course, this is prior to, him going back with his team and making the deliberation on what the decision would be. This is before that. And so he didn't seem like he wanted to complain. But obviously he was disheartened. Obviously he was taken aback by the lack of professionalism. But in addition to all of that I'm reading on this man's face, more importantly and more stunningly, what I'm looking at on De Los Santos is how drained he is. I'm looking at De Los Santos and his eyes sunken in. I'm looking at the protrusion of his cheekbones. I'm looking at his frail stature and all of the things that come with cutting weight and making weight on fight day or weigh-in day or whatever the hell have you. I'm looking at the sacrifices all over this man's body. And I'm remembering Keshan sauntering on that stage, not giving a fuck. And I'm disgusted looking at this. This is when it happened in my mind that I was like, nah, they got to call this shit off. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. De Los Santos made his sacrifices. He rose up to the call. Health conditions and all. He did his job as a professional athlete. He's the one that hadn't fought in over a goddamn year and a half. And he was the professional. He still answered the call that is asked of him as a professional fighter and athlete. What the hell is Keshan Davis's excuse? He just fought 3 months prior in February. What was his excuse? He has none. Which is why I say it was absolutely, unequivocally deliberate. De Los Santos was drained. His eyes were sunken in, you guys. I wasn't having it, like I said. He looked depleted because he made all of the demands required of him, unlike Keshan Davis. The gall of that man. His intention was to go in there and break De Los Santos. He wanted to break him and do the very thing that Shakur Stevenson could not do. That was the plot and the aim. Okay? Worse yet was that the disgraceful excuse that he made when he was questioned after getting off those scales. I'm not sure if you guys recall that part when he gets off the scales, and of course they talk to the fighters, and the host or hostess, I should say, asked, well, are you going to try to make the weight? Are you going to try to go in there and give it a shot? This is what Keshan says. He says, quote, nah, I just outgrew the weight. I've been making this weight for 4 years now. I just outgrew the weight. I was up late last night trying to make the weight. I woke up this morning trying to make the weight. I just outgrew the weight, man. I was feeling it last time when I was fighting Barichick. Thank God I made it, but I didn't know how I felt making it. But it is what it is. Do you see this capping? So all of a sudden, he's having struggles when he fought Barichick. I don't know goddamn where. You having struggles when you fight Barichick. No complaints then. Why the fuck did you sign up for another fight at 35 then? Because you surely didn't have to. You could have moved your ass on to 140 at that particular time. You didn't have to fight no damn De Los Santos. You didn't have to do that. Especially considering, and when you think about it, he fought Barichick. Let's say that this is true. Let's say we want to go with that. Him having the idea of, oh, it's too tough for me at 135. Let's say we're going to go with that. At least you made such a sacrifice for a champion. You got a strap off of that. What the fuck would you make such a sacrifice for De Los Santos? The motherfucker wasn't even ranked. He wasn't even ranked prior to last month or a month and a half or so ago. Why the fuck would you make that sacrifice on your own body if you can't make the weight for De Los Santos, who wasn't even ranked? It makes sense if you would do it from Barichick. He got a strap. What the hell does De Los Santos have? Except 2 goddamn years out the ring. Miss me with the nonsense, it's cap. He was up there capping his ass off. And worse yet, you guys, was that it was evident off the bat to me that he was betting. He was betting on De Los Santos. Still proceeding with the fight. He was betting on that. He said, oh, we're going to put on a show. We're going to put on a show and prayerfully everything goes through as planned. This is Keshan. Oh, prayerfully everything goes through as planned. We're going to go on with the show, but I'm pretty sure he'll take the fight. The show must go on. This is Keshan Davis on that stage. The show must go on, and I'm pretty sure he'll still take the fight. Do you hear this pompousness? Do you hear this arrogance? Sick to my stomach, y'all. This man cheated and connived, essentially. He cheated and connived his way via actual weight bullying. This is weight bullying in real time for the bitches in the back who got the shit twisted. This is weight bullying. And an absolute arrogance, an absolute unabashed arrogance. Keshan Davis expected De Los Santos and his team to go with the fight and not even throw a fit, not even bat an eye, just go along with it. This is what he was expecting. He assumed hauntingly and conceitedly that he would just go on with the show. Oh, the show must go on. Crazy work. This is the current state of boxing, you guys. This is the type of rot that seeks to soil everything that we know and respect about the game. This is what threatens to make the entire sport go asunder. And it's bigger than Keshan. You got to know that. Like I said, Keshan is a symptom. It's much bigger than he. Real talk, we need to expose the rot that is happening and occurring all throughout the sport. Because it's happening in every corner of it. From everywhere. Every corner. From fighters to managers to trainers to media. The entire gamut. Also, what was interesting to me, additionally, was how Keshan and his team chose to handle all of this coming off of, that presser, the weigh-in. You know what I mean? How they chose to handle it was very, very interesting to me. The heavy hitter of every, kind in Norfolk came out in support of Shakur Stevenson. They came out to support this man in his first title defense bout. They came to support him fans, media, all of that was tuning in. And right after this debacle of him missing weight on the scales, something like 24 hours passed, right? And that man did not make one public apology. Not one apology. The disrespect was surmounting right before our eyes, you guys. All of this is the lead up to Saturday. All of this was surmounting right before our eyes. We had no idea. There was no way that we could anticipate what all of this was culminating into. But it was definitely a build happening, y'all. Definitely a build. A hell of a build. Not one apology was given. The man pretty much said, fuck you, fuck your support, fuck your engagement, fuck your articles, fuck your invested time, fuck your fans, fuck your goddamn friends, your aunties, fuck your belief, all of that. Fuck everybody, fuck all of y'all. This is how it's coming off. This is what he is doing in real time. Child, you had the likes of people like goddamn Mike Vick out in that audience in support of him, 10 toes in the audience for Keshan Davis. AI in support of this man. Keshan fought on AI's birthday. The mayor of his own city, came out in full support with the love and the support. The city showed up 10 toes with the love, 10 toes with the acknowledgement, 10 toes with the pride that they have in him. And he turned his goddamn back. Crazy work. Turned his back callously, dismissingly, and pompously on his own goddamn people. The shit is diabolical, y'all. I couldn't write it even if I wanted to. Couldn't write it even if I wanted to. Crazy. Fight night arrives, you know what I mean? And I'm expecting for the young king, you know, Abdullah Mason to hold it down, right? Because we all know that he had been deemed the new headlining king of the event. He took control of the ship. The young Abdullah Mason, the young lion, right? Took control of the ship. He is the captain of that fight card. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see what he is going to do. Okay? Since Keshan decided to fumble his own show and fumble his own bag and fumble the Davis name. Okay? I'm like, what is going to happen? I'm anticipating that everything go well for the young lion, Abdullah Mason, because Abdullah maintained a level of class and professionalism throughout all of this. And let's not forget, Keshan tried to sun Abdullah Mason in front of the world at the final presser. We got to touch on this aspect as well, you guys. He tried to sun Abdullah Mason. Okay? And even though Keshan tried to take this angle with him in front of the world, Abdullah maintained his cool. Because the reality is, you know what I mean? He tried to ride the clout wagon by thinking it was going to be cute to do something like, you know, berate the young king, Abdullah Mason, on the stage during that final presser. Right? Shit was crazy. The riding of the coattails of Abdullah Mason is what he was doing. All that posturing he was doing as if he wanted, you know, to make the fight with Abdullah next and everything else. You know what I'm saying? All that clout chasing that he was doing. Thinking he's cute on that stage, Keshan Davis. He wanted to pluck at the cool demeanor of this young warrior, Abdullah, for kicks. He wanted to do it for kicks and for clicks. He wanted to make a headline, in other words. On everybody's YouTube commentary, he wanted to make a headline on your Twitter posts with these antics that he was doing. Oh, look at me. You know, I just sunned Abdullah, y'all. He's scared of me. Look at him. He's not even talking like he should. He's scared of me. Meanwhile, what's crazy is that most of the boxing world misread the room completely in this matter. They misread the room as it pertained to Abdullah Mason. The demeanor of the young lion Abdullah, when you look closely, was not fazed by the antics of Keshan. He wasn't fazed. He knew it was a spectacle. And he told Keshan flat out, my team can make this happen. I'm working my way up. I'm right here. Chill as a goddamn ice cube. Then as Keshan, continued to press for a reaction, Abdullah said, yo, I don't want to talk to you right now. Right? And the boxing world mistakenly missed the message. They took it as, a softness in the young lion Abdullah. They got drunk off of the showboating of Keshan Davis. Because Keshan, real talk, has been winning the hearts and the imaginations of all of us in the boxing world for the past year particularly, right? People feel like he has been standing on business, that he is a fiery, type of fighter that people, felt that they could invest in at 135. Since everything has been so bland and so dull with Tank Davis, and most definitely with Shakur Stevenson, so that they have been upholding Keshan in a newfound light at the 135 division. People feel that Keshan has been standing nearly equal to the stature of the once beloved big bro, Shakur Stevenson. Some people even feel like he may have superseded Shakur Stevenson in talent and ability and overall star power and attraction factor, right? A lot of people feel this way. And so people have been smitten, in other words, with Keshan Davis. And so the showboating that he has been doing, it was, taken as if, he's on business. He's the businessman and we like the business and he's on business time. Right? So boxing fans boasted about these antics that Keshan was displaying on that stage with Abdullah, not knowing that this nigga was pump faking the whole goddamn time. Whole time. Pump faking. Didn't have a shred of intention on fighting the young lion, Abdullah. But he just want to make a scene on stage. And I would even posit that he felt insecure sitting next to that killer Abdullah Mason. Which is why at times he was more focused on Abdullah than De Los Santos. Bringing up his name and referring to him and all these types of things like that. Don't you got to look at De Los Santos in front of you? The fuck you looking at Abdullah for? Listen, you guys. Nervous energy shows up in many forms. In myriad ways. A dog, doing all that barking. Let's say there's one dog and he's doing like, doing all this goddamn barking. And there's a calm dog next to them that's not really with all the talking. It's usually because the one that's barking has something to fear for the reason why he is acting out that way. And why the quiet one is not on that type of time. Because he ain't got shit to fear. That's exactly what was exemplified on that stage between Keshan and Abdullah Mason. Crazy work. Now, as far as the fight is concerned, because of course we got to touch on that. I see the fight, the first fight with that brother of Keshan, I believe his name is Keon. I see the fight, he scores his victory. He gets his opponent out of there by knockout, right? Now, I'm seeing this and I'm thinking, okay, the brother Keon is out here trying to recapture the name of the Davises tonight. He got the victory, He's setting the tone. He's trying to set the pace for the Davis name tonight. He scored his victory. Okay, good job. Let's see who's up next, right? Then Kelvin fight commences. Kelvin's fight. And he is facing Nahir Albright, who has a history with the Davises, as we know, right? Philly native, you know what I mean? He about it. He comes, He comes to, do what he got to do and get the hell stepping. Philly in the building. Shout out to anybody from Philly. And you know what? From that presser, he seemed to be, to me, Nahir I'm speaking about, Nahir seemed to be unmoved by all the talking that Kelvin was popping. I'm not sure if you guys peeped that at that presser as well. The aspect and the dynamic between Nahir and that brother Kelvin, right? Nahir was calm, confident. Here's another one. Calm, confident, unperturbed by the chatter of Kelvin. Once again, calm, cool energy is misread. Okay? In the ring, that same calm, cool demeanor turned into a straight up and down savage because Albright put the fucking Beats by Dre on that boy Kelvin. You understand me? That man didn't win a round, in my view. Kelvin had absolutely no answer, absolutely no defense, absolutely no adjustments to the onslaught of Nahir. He didn't know how to move his head off the line. Man's head was straight up and down in the air. And he was getting punished every single time for his ineptness. He was being punished for being inept. Absolutely inept. Albright brought that pressure and that fire twofold. And your boy Kelvin couldn't do nothing with that. Round after round after round, Albright was giving out the Beats by Dre like some Christmas gifts on that man. And he got his victory as he should have. He went in there and did his thing. Okay? Now, Albright wins the fight. He gets the dub. And what was crazy was that somebody on a goddamn, scorecards, one of the judges had it a draw. Did y'all see that shit? I'm like, what the fuck did you see a draw at? God damn. This man was getting all beat upside the head or mollywopped across that damn ring. Where the hell did you see a draw? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? He got the majority decision victory. He got his victory as he should have, because there was a point, where one could have conceived, that they would try to, cheat this man or rob that man. So I'm glad that he got the dub. Ultimately ruled the majority decision. Albright is obviously satisfied. I'm looking at this. He put on a dominant performance. All right, all good. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is another L for the Davises, right? Now, suddenly, all of a sudden, I'm seeing an interview with this man being given. And he's looking all lumped up and goddamn, got a goddamn scar on his eye and his head is all goddamn, lumped up. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? This man just looked clean, only moments ago. Why is this man out here looking like this? What is going on? I was so confused. I'm like, I don't remember this man, leaving the ring looking like that. This wasn't even a competitive fight. Why is this man looking crazy like this on this camera? All types of things I'm thinking in my head like, am I tripping? But this man, was absolutely dominant in that fight. I ain't see Kelvin putting on any type of pressure that could have this man looking like this, right? But I'm just looking on. I'm looking on, and suddenly things start to begin coherent. I'm listening. I start tuning into what he is actually saying, and the man talking about, he got ran up on in his dressing room by Keshan and Keon. I'm like, hold up. This cannot be true. And even the damn interviewer is like, what? What happened? I'm like, say this ain't so. Say this is not so. What is happening here? They done ran up on this man in his dressing room. This man, I just saw him leaving the ring. He's happy. People are shaking his hand in the crowd. Somebody asked him to sign something for them. He got his belt over his shoulder. I'm like, yeah, young king, you went in there and you did your thing. Only to go back to his dressing room and within minutes be swarmed by these two chumps. Oh my God, y'all. Out of control. Out of control. I just, I'm thinking it's fake. I'm like, what's going on? Diabolical work. Diabolical work. It's difficult to, wrap my mind around it. And I'm sure a lot of the boxing world is absolutely mystified. Because, what precedent do we have for it? I haven't seen anything like this. It's absolutely mind-blowing. They treating it like, some type of street beef. Some hood shit. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, you press my big bro. You know what I mean? We're going to come after you and we're going to handle you. This is not that setting. Like I said earlier, this is a professional boxing match. This is what y'all do. This is how y'all feed y'all families. So the fuck what he won. Run it back with his ass. Run it back. You so out of your goddamn wits and overly emotional that you, and then they had the camera on the brother, when the loss was, when the scorecards was on, they panned to Keshan at a particular moment, and they panned to that other one, and he all tight-faced and mean-mugging and looking crazy. Only to find out that within minutes, they hauling their asses back to that man's dressing room to fight him? I don't even know what to say, y'all. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. And what's worse yet is that, they had the footage of it as well. And, you see Keshan all huffing and puffing. They trying to drag him, push him back. There is no particular footage showing the actual assault take place, the physical assault of Keshan putting hands on him or whatever have you. But you see the crowd around them, and I believe it may be something like the aftermath of the incident, and you see them trying to move Keshan, and he's all like pulling away, and there's a goddamn baby stroller, his baby is all far goddamn put, the goddamn stroller is all pushed all forward. He's too busy goddamn fighting that he left his goddamn child in a damn baby stroller. And I guess he goddamn wake up for a minute and try to undo the people that's holding him so that he can go get the baby in a damn stroller. What is this? What is this? Now you're going to put the baby at risk. Goodness knows what could have happened. Thankfully, Albright and his team, are decent people. Sometimes you don't really know who you fucking with out here. Thankfully, those people are decent. They have a level of, coherence about themselves. And they didn't really take it there with you. Thank goodness they exemplified a level of professionalism. They kept the professionalism at the forefront. Because goodness goddamn knows if you met the wrong one, bro, I don't know if he'd be ready for that type of pressure. Some people out here are built differently. Why would you risk your child for this bullshit? Why would you risk anybody, yourself, for this nonsense? This is not no senseless altercation. This is a professional boxing match. And you're so immature and infantile in your mentality that you can't even accept a professional defeat from your brother? Oh, fucking well. People get defeated all the goddamn time. This is the name of the goddamn game. This is boxing. Go back to the goddamn drawing board, study, recover, improve, and come back better the next time. The fuck are you doing? The greatest men, the most beautiful brothers and black kings have taken their losses. Who the fuck are you? Wild work, y'all. Diabolical work on every level. There is something wrong with those brothers. Mentally. Go get that shit worked the fuck out. Before before you come back into sports soiling it with that terrible energy and imbecility. Go figure yourselves out, because y'all ought to step, y'all ought to touch those young brothers. They don't got it all together out here. Hopefully they can go find a clue, because they ain't got it now. Mentality all fucked up. Senses all fucked up. Keshan Davis and his family, as far as those brothers, I mean, of course, I can't hold the whole family to that. Hopefully there's some type of sensibility in there. But as far as Keshan is concerned, because he is the main face, you know, he is not of the culture. He is not somebody on code. And he has exemplified that time and time again, as I have divulged with you guys previously in the whole charade that happened surrounding Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, where this man was on his knees in front of a filthy, racist sympathizer in Ryan Garcia, coming right off the back of that whole scandal and the racist tirade that Riri went on. This man is front and center guzzling Ryan Garcia, laughing and kikiing with him with Shakur Stevenson, asking for a fight and talking to him sweetly. No code whatsoever. I didn't forget that shit. I don't forget. So I already know you ain't got it all well up in here. For that simping you was doing in front of that coward Ryan. Off the back of the racist shit that he said. No code. And so it takes a certain level of character or a devoidance, or, you know, to be devoid of a particular character for you to go ahead and do something like that. It's no surprise that he would debase himself in this respect as well. Unfortunate as that may be. He got to get it together. He has a world of potentiality in his hands. And he absolutely disgraced himself and his family. Only reason why people was given an inkling of attention to Keon and Kelvin is because Keshan is their brother. Nobody checking for them otherwise. They have no purpose otherwise. To the boxing world, real talk. We give them a second look because they rocking with Keshan, because we respected Keshan. So not only did Keshan soil and fumble his own potential for legacy and stature, but he absolutely demolished any shot that his brothers may have moving forward with this antic. All the things that people could have looked to promisingly from those two other brothers has now been thwarted, sidestepped, completely canceled out. And for what? The mentality is downhill. That is what I am seeing. And I'm wondering how far these roots, tap into concerning the young fighters of today. Obviously, the jacket and the cloak cannot be put on everybody, cannot be put on everyone at all. But we are looking at a new energy within this era. This is not the times of old. And that is a good thing. But what is it that is being ushered in? Because if it's trash, I ain't a part of it. What I saw last night was trash. That's not what I support or condone on any level. Keshan virtually had the world in his hands. And within a matter of 48 hours, his entire future flushed down the goddamn drain, y'all. by his own doing. He flushed his own goddamn future down the drain. So many people were eating out of the palms of this young man, awaiting him to take off on his star. Awaiting that. None of that mattered to him. And none of it mattered to him prior to him going in there to try to put hands on Albright. It didn't matter to him on the scale. It didn't matter to him in training camp. What the fuck was Bomac doing? Get his ass on a goddamn interview. Because he surely knew that Keshan was not going to make weight. That is his trainer. You know what time it is with your fighter. You are there with them front and center, 10 toes. You know every inch of that man's body, of that man's output. What's going on? So that the credit and the weight is multifold. Multifold. It is not just Keshan, it is a network around him. And the larger questions and the difficult questions must be posited at this juncture. Has to. Because it's unacceptable on all levels. There's a lack of guidance, a lack of direction and structure. I was on the King Champ Side's panel a couple of times during the week, and we were discussing this matter as it was unfolding in real time. And I had mentioned, and some brothers that joined me on the panel had mentioned, that this new particular generation is dejected. There's a level of being dejected within these kids who are presenting themselves to be kids. Because you are not men walking around acting like that. There's a disconnection within this new generation. There's a lack of understanding, a lack of tact. They are not informed. They are not connected to a history that they should be standing on proudly. But because they have no connection to it, they are out here running wild. And that goes beyond boxing. Culturally, there is work to do. And I know that it doesn't make it any more easier when we are, bringing in the factor of money and limelight and attention. All of that has to be taken into consideration. Because Keshan Davis is 26 years old. He has a newfound fame and celebrity as of the past year in a way that he has never had before. Even with his Olympic career and all of that, he has had attention and stuff like that on him, but never to this level, never to this degree of significance. And so considering all his other previous issues, the weight and the attention of pressure and money and stature and popularity added on to dysfunction is never a good thing. Where is his guidance? It's a larger issue at hand, of course, that we don't have all the time in the world to discuss today. But that is a very important matter. And that's some of, what has to be discussed and looked into upon determining how to rebuild from this point on as far as his future is concerned. Does he have one? Would the boxing world be willing to accept him back as time passes? Is this particular instance that occurred last evening something that could be overlooked by the boxing world and, of course, the boxing fans? Because, like I said, these people are out of the woodworks with all types of castigation for this man. You know what I mean? But they have been picking and choosing how to put this weight now that it's been exemplified to such a, a degree with Keshan Davis. Meanwhile, other people's antics and fuck-ups and missteps have no pressure of equal footing to the degree that Keshan is receiving right now. And like I said, he should be receiving all of it. But so should everyone else. Whenever a lack of professionalism is exhibited, I cannot stress that enough. But what is the future of Keshan Davis? Will he continue boxing? Of course, his payday and, his stature in the sport is going to be soiled and stained. What type of reputation can he build off of after this entire instance? Is there anything worth salvaging from this young man? In other words, a lot of questions on the table here. A lot of questions on the table. And I wonder about those things because me personally, I was disgusted. Y'all know I don't play with the pressure. All right? He got all that heat from me in looking at him and observing everything unfold. And so I feel like, that is not something that I would support. That is nowhere near anything that I would ever give my support to or put my dollars behind. It is what it is. But since he is so young in the sport, under 30 years old, a young man, should he get his stuff together, the reality is that there is still room for him to gather his mind, to gather, whatever remnants remain, and to try to get on track. But that's not something that anybody can wish for him. That's something that he has to put the groundwork down for himself. And obviously the man has a level of ambition because he got himself to the point that he is today. He climbed up those ranks. He had the amateur time. He had the Olympic time up until this particular juncture that we are in now. And so I cannot question his level of ambition. But I do question his dedication to his sportsmanship. Because he had that in question too, with the popping dirty for the weed. He already showed us that he was willing to sacrifice his own ambition, his own hard work that he put into it for some fuck shit. He already proved that. So I question his own dedication to himself, to his own work. It's proven that he is willing to bypass his own integrity to fulfill, some type of whim that he has at the moment. He does not think long term. Is he a man of potential and substantial talent? Yes. Does he have the wherewithal to see his legacy through? Only he knows that. And right now I have no interest whatsoever in investing the time to find out, especially if he is not. He got to show up and show and prove. And if he's not ready to make those corrections and those adjustments, ain't nothing I could ever say or do for that brother. It's so unfortunate. We're not out here with this level of disappointment when it comes to Jaime Munguia popping dirty. We're not saying, oh, I'm so disappointed in Jaime Munguia. You know what I'm saying? He has such a bright future ahead of him. No shitting on him. I'm just saying, nobody really checking for him like that with the belief. You know what I mean? As far as our culture is concerned. Our culture has been holding up Keshan Davis like I don't know what with the love. 10 toes with the love for this brother. Even in the midst of his goddamn coonery and fuck shit. People still holding him up on their shoulders. Saying, oh, Keshan, you can do it. Maybe you could be the one of 135. Maybe you could bypass Tank Davis. Maybe you could hold us down since everybody else is out here on some clown shit, some sucker shit, some ducking shit. Maybe it's you. And he just smited all of that love and support people have been instilling in him. That's the disappointment. So he's got a lot to figure out. I don't know if he will. Only time can tell. But obviously he has soiled all of his affiliations, all of his connections. You know, I don't know what's going on with the Top Rank situation with Bob Rank. I said Bob Rank. Bob Arum. You know, and any potential investors, what's going to happen with Turkey? Obviously, Turkey is the man that's putting on the major fights these days. You think Turkey Al-Sheikh want to invest some money in some shit that you're going to fumble? Millions of dollars, like I said, countless substantial amounts of money was put for this fight to take place in his hometowns for him to headline. People buying tickets. People invested. Who the fuck is going to want to, you know, run to put money behind this man again? First title defense, and you get stripped of your belt, of your championship. And then he got the gall to complain about not unifying. You know, he was asked if he was going to fight Mortal. Oh, I don't want the IBF belt. I don't want to pay for the other belt. This motherfucker outright telling you he don't want to be unified. What the hell are you doing if you're not doing that? Why collect the strap in the first place? So that he's a continuance of the issue at 135. Everybody thought that now that he's in the picture, maybe the dynamic would change and shift as far as the mentality or the lack of mentality from the champions. This motherfucker on the same wavelength. Belts don't matter type shit. I don't want to pay for another belt, so I don't want to be unified. I'm not going to fight Mortal for the IBF so that I could unify. This is the disgraceful nature of boxing. And particularly 135. No value for championship. These people like the cameras. They want to get the bag and floss their diamond necklaces. It's so diabolical on every level, y'all. We could be here talking about that all night, but I want to check in to see what y'all think. I know I've been going on for a minute. I just needed to get all of that shit out as clearly as I could because it's of note and it's imperative that we discuss it outrightly. Salute to anybody in the building. I know I missed a lot of people. I've been going on for a while, but let me see who's in the building. Salute to the King AJ. Of course, I'm not going to be able to read everybody's name, but let me know what y'all thought about that. Salute to the King Eric. I see you. The King Stephen, the Great Mike. I got to shout my real people out. People 10 toes with me. Salute y'all. Diabolical stuff, you guys. King Freedom says, I've never been impressed by yappers who ain't never acted on their words. Right. Oh my God, my twin says, Coleslaw hit that man with the tiger headbutt. Damn, sure did. Headbutted that man, gave him the crazy lump on top of his head. That he had that man looking like Martin when Martin motherfucking, you remember that episode of Martin when he fought Tommy Hearns? And he came out that damn bedroom all lumped up. That's what they had that damn man Albright looking like on that camera. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? Oh, child. Absolute disgusting work. Disgusting work. Salute to the King Supreme Beast. I see you. If you're still in the building, salute to you. I just scrolled up a little bit, you guys, but I'm going to come back down. See what y'all talking about. My twin says, Bob Arum is going to fist him with no lube for the next couple of fights. I guarantee that. Child, listen. I can only imagine what's in store for that man, you know. And he's going to get it hard, you know what I'm saying? Because he probably thought that he was above that. He thought he was above that. You know, he was becoming the public darling, the boxing sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? He thought he had aligned himself potentially with Ryan Garcia with that fuck shit that he was doing on camera, kissing that man's ass. Oh, I'm going to associate myself here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is over here holding him up, thinking that he, is about that business, thinking that he is on business time, calling himself the businessman. No business is in the building with this chump. None. None. And so he's thinking, he's beyond that. Little does he know that these people they already started coming down hard. It hasn't even been 24 hours yet. And the media is already on that ass, already smoking this dude. He thought he was beyond this level of castigation. He thought he could bypass people tearing him down and shunning him. He thought he was on the good side. These people don't give a damn about you. You ain't Ryan Garcia. You ain't Teofimo Lopez. He forgot. He forgot. But he gonna learn. And he should learn. Absolutely disgraceful on every level. He is not going to get the same preferential treatment that Ryan Garcia got for being a PED drug cheat, for coming in overweight, and for being a filthy, disgusting, racist sympathizer. He's not going to get a fraction of that leeway. I don't care how much they favored you 5 minutes ago. It's sad that these people aren't privy. These people aren't educated or historically sound. The only thing that is at the forefront of their minds, is primary, is the popularity that they want to assume in the moment. Everything is momentary. They're not thinking on a larger scale. They're not thinking of themselves within context to history and culture. They think that because they have popularity that they could override those particular types of factors, and it's just not the case. This is why the entire boxing world is coming down on him the way that they are. And the reason why they did not come down a fraction of a fraction on a PED drug cheat. People are still wiping Ryan Garcia's ass. He's allowed to go quiet and under the radar. As you know, it's been an entire month. Nobody's talking about Ryan. Nobody got no heat on Ryan, even though he was put on his ass. Even though he made excuses, oh, my hand hurt, my ass hurt, my pinky toe hurt, my eyebrow goddamn hurt. I gotta get surgery. Letting this nigga slide. This is why they let Teofimo slide for the pussy shit he was doing with the ducking of Devin Haney. Nobody's saying shit about that either. All of a sudden, he's off the hook. And Keshan is the main point of discussion. All the other disgraces in the sport, Jaime Munguia popping dirty 2 weeks ago, disappeared. Everybody's heat and focused on Keshan. This is the dynamic at hand. And he's going to learn a hard lesson about that. They let them go scot-free. You ain't that goddamn privileged. You don't have the same privilege or leeway. You thought you was cute and got caught up, fucked around, and found out. They gonna let you off the hook, bruh. Salute to the king and the coach Hudson, my comrade. He says, come on home. Salute to the king, Brandon. I see you in the building, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining. He says, but they stay talking about Devin, the clean fighter. Exactly. And that's among what I had mentioned in the preface of the discussion today. Absolutely. Never once popped dirty in his life, gets all types of castigated, all types of berated. And he's clean at all times. The only boxer in the world enrolled in 24/7, 365 testing to ensure his cleanliness and uprightness as an athlete and sportsman, the only boxer on the planet enrolled in that. Meanwhile, people associate him with PED usage. Oh, you was on the snack program. Oh, use a weight bully because you're on the snack program. Crazy work. Tell your fucking favorite fighter to go enroll in 365 24/7 testing and then talk to me. Fuck out my face if you're not on that type of time. The larger agenda at hand and at work is very insidious, you guys. Very insidious. And it works in all sorts of ways and in many facets. That's why I thought it was imperative for me to posit that at the time of Keshan Davis weighing in overweight, nobody held him to the fire. Because they were willing, because he was preferred. They were willing to let him bypass that. And so there was no real outcry for that. There was no calling him a weight bully for that. It is only when he went over the edge and did the unthinkable that now everybody is on the rate to step on his neck. Because, of course, there is no way to excuse the antics that commenced last evening. Especially with footage and all of that shit happening and the man coming out showing his face with the bruises and telling everybody what occurred. They cannot, sweep that under the rug, in other words. But that weight bullying shit, they was happily ready to allow that shit to happen. As far as the media is concerned. They were not quick to castigate him. Salute to the King David. I see you in the building. Who is this? D Scott. Salute to you, King. D Scott. He says he's trying to get money off social media and became media. I see what you're saying. He tried to make money off social media and became media the wrong way and lost it all. Burnt bridges, business, etc. Absolute facts, D Scott. The King No Cap says, like they ain't killing innocent kings every day, let alone what they do to Keshan, ignorant ass. Big facts. Big facts. My twin says Devin Haney has been the golden standard of boxing and being a young black man, 1000%. But that seems to be the most threatening thing societally in general. And it's mirrored within the boxing world because everybody looks to discredit Devin Haney of that particular cloth of media, who fear an upright athlete, independently thinking, independently working towards their greatness. They don't have a slave with Devin Haney and DHP and Bill Haney. They have people who are upright. They have people who are formulating a basis for their own family name and legacy and bloodline, and who walk in the cloth of all the great men and black kings who did it before them. And I would posit that they're even doing it better because they took the initiative to take the independent route. Big salute and big respect to Bill Haney for setting that path for his son and for his son leading the charge with the warriorship heart and the warriorship mentality that he's been exuding all of this time and that he will continue to exude. This is what is feared in boxing, is that forthright, upright mentality. This is why these people are hated and all types of smear campaigns and everything else is run amok on their names. Trust me, even though all of these media are complaining about Keshan Davis and running to the forefront to throw rocks at this man, they love this man quietly. They love the antics of Keshan Davis quietly. This is precisely the type of boxer they prefer in the public. The one that they can say, see, look, this is exactly why we can't have, we can't call black fighters elite. Don't you see his antics? Look. This is why this fighter is better than them. This is why Inoue is better than them. or whatever the hell is. No shade to anywhere. I'm just saying he is, you know what I'm saying? He is the other that they would like to use as a standard of greatness, as a representation of something non-black, as a poster child. Keshan is exactly who they love. Keshan is exactly who they wish Devin would be. That's why they always try to promote him as such. Oh, Devin always trying to be a thug. Man, never try to thug out in his goddamn life. Always the first to tell you, listen, my father gave me a great life. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no complaints, no regrets. I'm just out here trying to do my best, do my biggest, and create a legacy that I respect in the name of my father, in the name of the people that I love, and in the name of the people who inspired me in this game. Like your Ali's, like your Whitakers, like your Floyd, and everybody else who have touched and inspired Devin Haney. Yeah, out here trying to thug for nobody, never claimed to be one. But you see, they want to constantly associate him with that because they are preying on his downfall. They want him to be in and assume the similar stature that Keshan has just assumed for himself. They love the antics of the Keshan Davises. They want to create more of them and would if they could, but they cannot. Speaking of which, I have to get into the young king, the young lion, Abdullah Mason, because it's a perfect segue into what is the likes of somebody like Devin Haney and Abdullah Mason as opposed to the position that Keshan Davis chose for himself, because there's a difference. And it's important also to stress the fact that there is an energy present in boxing right now that defers, that opposes the nonsensical, that opposes the disrespectful, that opposes the lack of sportsmanship. There is a presence standing 10 toes on business out here. Shout out to the young lion, Abdullah Mason, for showing up and not only taking on the weight of this entire fight card on his back last minute, but grabbing an astounding, spectacular, stunning victory over his opponent last evening. The young lion, Abdullah Mason, took the crown, you guys, and he carried the entire fight card on his shoulders like an absolute G. Absolute G. Cannot give enough respect and credence and credit to this young man, who I am a huge supporter of. Of course, of course, Abdullah Mason was surprised by the sudden turn of events and him having to assume the captain role of the ship, but he was prepared to get the job done. He was prepared to do that because he is a professional and he is dedicated to his craft, a dedicated warrior. And he was going to show up 10 toes regardless on what area of the card you had him on. First or goddamn last. He's showing up to get busy. He going to get it cracking. All right? The young king is the face of the 135 division. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Abdullah Mason is the face of the 135 goddamn division out here. Period. He's the face of 135 right now. He is the future and the present. Everyone else who's supposed to be the quote unquote king, everybody else in the division that's supposed to be quote unquote that dude, is out here on some sucker shit. Out here capping. Tank out here goddamn capping. Pulling up 130 pounders. Avoiding the smoke. Trying to fight YouTubers and goddamn, Jake Paul. Talking retirement. Cap. Shakur Stevenson ducking smoke. He don't want to unify, even though he capped his ass off, talking about, I want to grab every single belt one by one, as Champ Side exemplified in the footage on his one of his live stream last week, showing the footage of Shakur Stevenson not too long ago at all, talking about how he wants to be undisputed and do it, quote unquote, the hard way. He don't want to be a email champ like Devin Haney. He want to get every single belt one by one by one. Meanwhile, he's ducking Keshan Davis, or was ducking Keshan Davis when Keshan was a champion. Capping. Lomachenko, goddamn, my neck and my back out this bitch for the past goddamn year and finally decided to retire. Capping. 135 has been nothing but cap. Young Abdullah Mason is the only one out here saying, all right, let me clean this shit up. It's a lot of trash out here. A lot of fake calls for smoke. Let me stand on business and show y'all I'm different. All that pump faking has been crazy. The capping has been heavy at 135. Abdullah Mason is the face of 135. Abdullah went in there facing a former opponent of Shakur Stevenson. Right? Just as Keshan was scheduled to do against De Los Santos. Except that Abdullah went in there and made light work of that man, Nakathelia, in 5 rounds. Got his ass up out of there by stoppage. 5 rounds. Abdullah was clean. Abdullah was sharp, effective, all night. I swear for God, every time this young man steps in that damn ring, he comes in displaying all of the corrections he's made, all of the education he's assumed from previous fights, and he implements them each time in the ring. This young man is a problem. And he's also a problem solver. He don't got to do all the unnecessary rah-rah to take care of business. The young man not only showed sniper precision against Nakathelia last evening, but his aggression was composed and he was an absolute menace in that ring. Generalship 10 toes. Nakathelia is known to be a power puncher, y'all, as we know. And Abdullah quelled that smoke, nullified that smoke. The dominance was on deck. The generalship unquestionable. This is the future of 35. This is where we saw the future become the present. The present. You can't talk about Abdullah Mason like he's tomorrow no more because he is here today. And he proved that with the affirmation of his stance and stature, being able to take the weight of the last minute adjustments that had to be made and putting himself in position of leadership that the 135 division has been lacking ever since Devin Haney dropped the belts and moved on to bigger and better things at the higher up divisions. Lacking structure. 135 has been in shambles since Devin Haney left. Devin Haney was the only man at 135 to add some structure and organization to that division. And ever since he has been gone, nobody has had the generalship to reel it in. Nobody's been dedicated enough to take it seriously. Everybody's been pump faking until now. We got somebody in position to actually uphold what was once a golden division in the 135 lightweight division. Now it's looking like some potential is in the building. Now it's looking like some business can actually be handled. I think that I heard that they had offered Abdullah Mason, upon the news about Keshan being stripped and, the fight being canceled, that they had approached the Mason family with an inquiry like, would you like to take the place of Keshan and fight De Los Santos in the headlining fight? But the father of Abdullah Mason rejected the option. And I don't blame him for doing that, you guys. I'm not sure if you guys heard that. I had come across, a mentioning of that was presented to the table to Mason. No problem with it at all. I don't blame him. I highly agree with their decision to not go through with that. Even though, if he took it, of course. Imagine if Abdullah Mason would have taken that fight with goddamn De Los Santos last minute and decided to, you know what I'm saying? That would have been some fire ass shit, especially if he went up there and demolished that damn man. You feel me? That shit would have been absolutely epic for him to go in there, and he would have fought for the WBO strap. You know what I'm saying? That would have been absolutely crazy. But I understand, like I said, why they did not do that, all things considered. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to Abdullah Mason's team for not being hasty. They had trained for Knockathilia. They had put all of their effort into Knockathilia, and they were not going to jeopardize or compromise Abdullah at such a pivotal point in his career. This is the biggest name that he is facing. This is the person that he has been training for. Okay? Being left virtually blindsided because they make a last-minute decision to change opponents would have proven to be possibly devastating, and they were not going to take that chance. They had already put all of their focus and attention and training for Knockathilia, and so they went forward with that. And that was a smart decision to do so. That WBO strap or whatever other strap at 35 is absolutely on the table for the young King Abdullah Mason because he made it clear that he intended to, have a title shot, before the year is out. And I have no doubt that he would be in line to do just that, especially given how exemplary a job he did of commanding and assuming the headlining position after the scandal and fiasco of Keshan Davis. Very interesting stuff, you guys. Interesting stuff. 135 is a depleted division as far as those champions. There is no championship heart. The champions have depleted themselves. They've negated and deleted themselves. The young lion Abdullah is looking to step up and assume his authority. And I'm in 1,000% support of him. Get the trash the fuck out of boxing. Y'all want some sucker shit? We packing you up, zip them up, and get them out of here. I've been calling for that for quite some time for my real ones in the building who have been hearing me say these things repeatedly. Zip them up and get out the way. Too much playing going on, too much dancing, too much tweeting going on. Too much straight perms and new purses and leopard skin drawers out this bitch. I'm tired of that shit. Too much talking. Too much, oh, he my friend. Get that soft shit the fuck out of here. We need some championship on deck. We need some warriorship on deck. They've been playing in our faces. They've been playing the whole goddamn real ones boxing world's faces for too goddamn long. Move to the side. Go figure your shit out over there. Make way for the real ones who actually intend on handling some business and taking the legacy seriously. Taking the support and heart of boxing fans seriously. That's what needs to return front and center in this sport. We don't need all the shit of, shit character, shit goddamn mentalities, all of that rotting and seeping and festering into the other divisions. We don't need that shit spreading. We got to cut that shit off where it's at to prevent the spreading of that nonsense, of that cancerous behavior and mentality. 135 has been setting a disgusting precedent for the rest of the sport. And I don't want to see anybody else following that example that 135 has been putting out and living by. and all of the issues that are systemic within boxing. The larger and deeper issues outside of just, on a fighter to fighter basis or division to division basis. But all of the internecine, subterranean levels that are much more potent and much more threatening. That's what we got to get to as well. Because there are things that allow these things to be carried out. There are agendas that are allowed to be carried out and infiltrated that we have to get to and speak about. We cannot be blinded out here, y'all. Real talk. Now, speaking of rot, if I could really quickly touch on this. Like I said, all of the heat, hold on, let me take a sip of my water, you guys. I've been going on and on, child. The goddess is over here working. But, by the way, hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Show me some love in the super chat, if you will. Definitely hit the like button, share the content. You know what I'm saying? Thank you to everybody in the building. If I could just take a brief pause and thank everybody in the building. I know I'm not reading my comments as readily, but I'm very impassioned right now. And so, when I'm done, with the particular segment, of course, I'll go back and check in with y'all. All right. But salute to everybody in the building. Smash that like button. You know what I mean? All right. So, speaking of rot, like I said, all of the weight and the attention has been shifted and diverted onto Keshan Davis, rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? It's something that is unfathomable that took place. Everybody is up in arms. Everybody's outraged by what they saw, and everything that is at hand, understandably so. But as I had posited earlier, a lot of this is being bringing a cause to pause on the matter of everything else disgusting and disgraceful that has been taking place in the sport within the same, week or days or whatever the hell have you. One of which is the aspect of Teofimo's disgusting duckery. Okay? Because this is part and parcel to what I consider to be a crazy issue within the sport. And this also ties into the aspect of culture. Teofimo Lopez went on a whole rant and he tried to explain away his ducking. I know that my real ones came across that over the past week. This man went on whatever particular type of interview and explained away the ducking of $11 million that was offered on the table. No questions asked, no strings attached. 11 mil, here you go. Offered by Turkey Al-Sheikh to Teo to face Devin. And Teofimo ducked it. He ducked it. After negotiations were already underway, after it was already being put out there, and that people were anticipating that he was going to sign at a particular point last week, the man said what he's been saying for the past 6-7 years. Hell no, I'm not fucking ready to fight Devin Haney. I'm too puss to fight Devin Haney. He did it again. Same pattern that he's been exhibiting for the past 6-7 years of ducking Devin. He did it again. Even when $11 million was put on the table for this chump to face him. Mind you, it is of absolute worth to mention the fact that Teofimo Lopez is reported as to not even ever having been paid $1 million in a fight. Haven't even touched the M, barely. But he turned down 11 mil? 11. The most he's ever seen or could have thought to see in his lifetime. For one fight. And he ducked it. I don't even know how I could explicate or paint a clearer picture how diabolical this is on every front, on every level. And at the same time, in the midst of his duckery, this man has the gall to get up there and try to explain away the reasoning for his moves and decision. And even more of a goal on the part of the Glazers, who I guess were supposed to be interviewers, whatever platform that was from, were glazing so bad the goddamn knee pads, they rubbed through the knee pads. Knee pads wasn't even sufficient enough for how heavy they were on their knees in front of Teofimo Lopez in that interview. Glazing was crazy. Diabolical work, y'all. The outs that they were giving Teofimo Lopez for his excuses. When Teofimo caught himself saying things like, oh, Haney is Turkey's guy. I can't fight him. Turkey is already in his corner. Does that sound familiar? Does that ring a bell, you guys? Sounds an awful lot like the excuse that Red Light Special Davis was putting out there when he ducked the opportunity to face Devin Haney. Same excuses. Oh, he's friends with Turkey, y'all. I'm going to be at a disadvantage. I can't fight Devin Haney. Turkey is behind it. That means that they're going to sway the fight to him. Same excuse that Teofimo decided to run with in this interview. Furthermore, the man said, it's because of Devin Haney's religion. Get this, you guys, because, we talk about setting precedents. This is a hell of a goddamn precedent. Now, it's Devin's religion. It's him being a practicer of Islam. The fact that Devin Haney is a Muslim is the reason why Teofimo cannot fight him. Because, Turkey al-Sheikh is also a Muslim. He also believes in the Islamic faith. So this is now a reason why I can't fight Devin Haney. You see, because they are Muslim. They have that in common, you see. So if I go over there and fight them, they're going to band together in Muslimhood and they're going to rise up, to dethrone my attempts at success. Do you hear this shit? You hear this shit? The man said everything that he could pull out his ass as an excuse to not fight Devin Haney, you guys. It was a disgrace. Listening to that damn interview, I said, this can't be real. This has to be a skit or something, right? This has to be a skit. This can't be real. This has to be a parody of something. The motherfucker's being for real. This is his excuse. This is what he came out publicly divulging as to the reason why he was not going to fight Devin Haney, among, a host of other things. If you go listen to that interview in full, I was not going to waste my time listening any further than I had. Disgusting work. You guys, do you remember when I mentioned earlier that Devin Haney need not test positive for any substance, banned or otherwise, to be called or associated with drug cheating? Despite the fact that he is a clean athlete, has always been his entire career, doesn't stop people from calling him and associating him with a drug cheat. Only athlete in the world in boxing. Like I said, signed for 365, 24/7 testing around the clock. These people can come when he's changing his baby's diaper. They can come when he's in the middle of training. They can come when he's kissing his wife on the cheek. They can come when he's giving somebody a high five. They can roll up on him at any time for testing. And he committed himself to obliging the performance of the testing on site. This is his dedication to the sport. Only boxer on the planet doing this. And they call him the drug cheat. Make it the fuck make sense. Likewise, they want to call Devin Haney all types of ducks. Before he left 135, oh, you a weight bully. Never came in overweight a day in his goddamn life. Oh, Devin Haney's a weight bully. He's looking whatever. Oh, why he killing himself to make 135? The man said, I already did what I had to do. I became undisputed. I'm going to 140, drop the belts. I'm out. Oh, Devin Haney left too soon. He said he was going to leave at the end of the year. I did leave at the end of the year. I left December of 23. Oh, well, you said the end of the year. I guess they were waiting for Devin Haney to leave December 31st, 11:50 fucking 9 p.m. That's not good enough. He goes up to 140. Nobody got much to say when he put, what's his name on his ass too much, except, of course, he weight bullied Regis Prograis. Right? Now he weight bullies the 140 pounder. That's not good enough. Fights Ryan Garcia, all the scandal that ensued following that. People can't stop talking about this man negatively. Even though he was cheated. Even though his life was threatened. Not only by somebody coming in overweight, by somebody juiced up to their goddamn necks in performance enhancing drugs. Because they're too cowardly to face him on an equal playing field. Yet and still, he is the one that's being castigated, the person that had the injustice done onto him. He is still being associated with drug cheating, even though Ryan pissed hot. Crazy. In the midst of all of this, people are saying, well, why don't you go up to fight Boots? You a weight bully, Devin. You're too big for this weight. Why don't you go fight Boots? Boots, of course, being a king at 147 at that time, and now the king of 147 presently. All the talk, oh, go fight Boots, go fight Boots. Even before, he faced Ryan Garcia, go fight Boots. Devin's too big for the weight class. Go fight Boots. He's such a mammoth of a man. He's so big. Why don't you go fight Boots? Motherfucker said, I'm here. I'm at 47, was popping. Put out a hit list. No Smoke is being ducked. The very person you said he would not go up to fight, he is in the backyard of. The backyard of. With the sign up like, what's cracking? Come see me. Anybody in and around 140, 147, I want the smoke. I'm not ducking nobody. And what are people saying? Oh, Devin Haney is ducking this person. Don't stop them from saying he's ducking. Meanwhile, Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia blatantly ducked Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia cried that his asshole was hurting. He had to get his bussy in the surgery room. He wanted to fix his bussy up and get surgery on that shit. Oh, I got to go get surgery or I can't fight. I can't fight, y'all. I'm not going to be able to do the rematch. I don't want to do the rematch. I got to get a new bussy. Also, oh, by the way, my shoulder hurt. My right hand hurt. I need surgery on that too. Oh, by the way, Devin Haney is a runner. All these excuses he could think of to bypass that rematch with Devin Haney. Completely let off the hook that sassy bitch Ryan Garcia. Now, we got Teofimo Lopez ducking the most money he could ever think to see in his life to fight Devin Haney. Nobody got shit to say about it. Nobody's calling him a duck. You understand now what I'm talking about when I say agendas at work. Internecine dealings, internecine powers at work beneath the surface. This is what is at hand. And it's no coincidence at all that these types of motives and outputs are geared toward Black elite fighters. And it's why I call the example that even though prior to yesterday, Keshan Davis was a preferred Black face, if you will, that now, in the face of this disgusting, outrageous fiasco that he and his brothers pulled last evening, is the same reason why, even despite him being the preferred Black face, it's precisely the reason why the heavy hand is coming down unsparingly on him. He is not being spared or let off the hook like your racist Riri's or your Teofimo Lopez's. This is why I bring in the aspect of culture. Because they will not spare you the rod. And you need to know that. Black boxing fans, or any cognizant boxing fan, all of these things intertwine. All of them have interplaying aspects. All of them interlope and intermingle into a much larger conversation being had in real time, whether you are aware of it or not. Big conversation for us to have, big questions for us to sit with as a boxing community as a whole. Those of us who are serious about aligning the trajectory of the sport alongside a sense of uprightness for everybody to enjoy. For every fighter to reap the benefits of. For every fight fan to be proud of supporting. Because that is what is being denied to us when things are not done correctly. I'm not afraid to call that shit out. We see too many people out here pump faking. Very few real ones standing 10 toes or willing to in this piece. I'm going to call the shit like I see it. Do with it what you will. But the cognizant ones are who I am speaking to. Everybody else can catch up. We got to talk about these things. These things are real. These things are serious. Teofimo Lopez's duckery is another rotting aspect of the sport. He is not holding a level of sportsmanship with his ducking. In fact, it's just as diabolical as the antics of Keshan Davis to me. It's disgusting. Another aspect of rot, causing an impasse. An impasse. How the fuck is that pushing the sport forward? We are here to see the best fight the best. How the fuck is the best ducking the best? Or the supposed best, because, he said, I don't call him the best, but yes, he is one of the names that we know and have accredited at 140, and he did have a wonderful win against Lomachenko. He was considered the Four Kings, a part of that Four King conversation, not Riri Garcia. And so, yes, we had to put respect on his name as far as that went for the previous years. But when we look at the cumulative years of his ducking of Devin Haney, we got to put that motherfucker into question. He's not beyond that. The pressure's going to be put on him. Because he want to call himself the best. I mean, the man is absolutely deluded thinking that he was ever undisputed, which he was not at 135. Only man to be undisputed at 135 is Devin, the young black Jesus, Devin Haney. Teofimo was never undisputed. So obviously, he's deluded enough to think that he is the best. But he don't want to put himself in the best situations. He don't want to put himself in the best fights. Got his ass bust by Kambosos. Yes, he fought Lomachenko. But what now? But you want to sit around having an ego? And you're not willing to fight the best? But you want people to uphold you on some type of pedestal? Fuck out of here. The real ones in the building are going to be like, nah, bro, fight Devin. That's the biggest person you can fight in the sport. And you duck him? You a clown. Nobody got shit to say about that duckery, though. How convenient. Everybody's so quick to turn an eye away from that shit. Not over here. That shit. And you got dumbass motherfuckers out here ready to excuse the excuses. Oh, well, tell Devin Haney to go fight Jermaine Ortiz so that he can get a shot with you. Who the fuck is Teofimo Lopez to get a shot with? What has he accomplished that surpasses Devin Haney to be talking like Devin has to get a shot from this coward? He gets a shot from Devin. This bitch fought in a goddamn gymnasium against Claggett, who mollywopped his ass. Had both of his eyes closed in that school goddamn gym. What is going on? What you talk about before he gets a shot with you? And there was also the disgrace of him running his ass off, trying to face Boots Ennis. As if he wasn't going to get destroyed facing Boots either. But he would do anything to get away from Devin. That he was willing to fall to his death against Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? Essentially. Fall to his death. Die the death of a dog in front of Boots Ennis. Anything so that he won't get beheaded by Devin Haney. The ducking is crazy. Unacceptable. And we got to stop playing and placating out here. Soiling the sport. The reality, you guys, is that Devin Haney is out here saving lives of these haters, whether people want to acknowledge that or not. Devin Haney, as I said in the Twitter post earlier this week, Devin Haney is the American monster. You got your Mexican monster, Benavidez, one of my favorite fighters, 10 toes with the king, Benavidez, Mexican monster. We got Devin Haney, the American monster. Two killers. Because nobody want no parts of this man either. Goddamn had a hit list out for damn near going on goddamn, barely 2 weeks. And we already got 2 bitches that tuck their tails. Wants no smoke with the King Devin. Backed out. Turned in the other direction. Put the blindfolds on like, oh, I didn't just walk into this room. My bad. I don't speak the fucking English. Ducking the smoke with Devin. Keshan Davis talking about I'm ready to go to 140. Didn't say a word about being on Devin Haney's hit list. Ducking. Saying this man's name is a form of trying to attain a level of relevancy in this sport. And it gets more and more diabolical as the days pass, as the months pass, as the years pass. Any type of smiting campaign against Devin Haney's name is surely to get you some type of views. We've seen Keshan do it in the past. Oh, he got his daddy on his corner. I don't need no daddy. And all this other bullshit he's been seen as saying. Also that what? He can get some buzz, and he absolutely did. For all the people in the boxing world who love to hate on the King Devin. Flock to him. That's a part of a lot of the support that he's garnered. Keshan. Of course, Ryan Garcia has been eating and milking off of Devin Haney. Tank Davis pop out doing lives in the dark about Devin Haney. Not even focused on his damn fight, but quick to talk about some damn Devin. Devin Haney out here saving lives, y'all. You know what I mean? One life at a time. The bloodline of the sport. Even though they like to castigate him, he saves them every step of the goddamn way. Hence the name Young King Black Jesus Devin Haney, as I call him. Saving goddamn lives. Bringing the dead back to life, y'all. People's channels got new life out here in these goddamn streets. Hating on this king. Crazy work. And the continued agenda ensues. But Devin Haney continues to set a standard, as I say, often in my lives. Because it's good to look at the example that he sets. It's good to see that type of heart and character on deck, the willingness to exemplify the warriorship that has been at a deficit in this sport for far too long. They do not want an elite black male, particularly the stature of Devin Haney, to assume and claim the vacancy that is at hand left by Floyd Mayweather Jr. They fear that. And I posit that even Floyd fears that. Because it is Devin Haney who had the tutelage, like no other, under his own guidance and the guidance of Senior and the other members of the Mayweather family who have invested in that young man, in his come up. And a slew of other beautiful warriors and fighters, like your Roy Joneses and your Zab Judas and the countless people who have touched the head of Devin Haney on his come up as a young child, who have laid hands on him and gave grace to him. I think the thing that the boxing world fears most is his complete authority and assuming of stature in the sport. They fear that. And I look at the young king, Abdullah Mason, who is on the come up, right on the heels of Devin Haney. He is a bit younger. He is right on the heels of Devin Haney. But he has that sense of warriorship. He has that pure boxing style, American boxing style. And I wonder, how long will it be before he falls out the graces of the snake, treacherous, energy of this boxing world? Because trust and believe they can't wait to put him on a stake. He's a young thing now. He's not threatening. At this particular point, I'm talking about he's threatening to his opponents, but not to the general boxing world as of yet. The world is getting to know him. How long will it be before he is tried, tested, and made to be pushed to the side in the eyes of the public by the boxing media? How long will it be? Because sure enough, the more he starts assuming a stature for himself, especially if he intends to do it unapologetically, you already know what's coming for that young brother. And I pray that he be strong enough to bear it, just like Devin is, and just like the people before Devin have done, who were always 10 toes unapologetic about their culture and the making of their legacy. Because Abdullah surely has the power to do it, so long as he is focused and dedicated throughout his career. And I cannot wait to see what's in store for that young man. But Devin Haney, as of now, is the one with the torch. And it's a wonderful example that I always salute as best I can, as much as I can, because in the face of all that is trying to disavow that young man, he really does set the standard. Nobody is out here on the warrior code time that Devin Haney is, as far as, the peers like Shakur Stevenson, like Tank Davis, and of course, Keshan Davis. It's one thing to pump fake. It's one thing to have a crowd around you and to huff and puff here and there and to do your rah-rah and garner, some level of attention. But it's another thing to look at that stone and say, my name is going to be etched in there next to the grapes. Keshan don't have those eyes at this particular point in his career. Can he be open to gaining them? Who knows? Anything is possible. He does not have them now. He showed the world that. And there's so many beautiful young brothers that we could think to uphold and that we would want to uphold. And Keshan was definitely top of the list among those names. But this is what a lack of focus and a lack of culture, lack of education, lack of guidance can do. People so quick to talk about Devin Haney. He is not out here doing none of this shit. Never has. And people are ready with the quickness to berate him and censure him. It's going to be interesting, the climate of the boxing world in the next couple of months. And real talk the next, however many years, just onward in general. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamic at hand. With the young brothers on the come up. Like I said, I have no idea what's in store for 135. Of course, Lomachenko officially retired. That was some other news that came up. So now the division has officially opened up. Moratala has been elevated to the IBF champion. So, what does that stand to mean for 135? Are we going to finally be seeing some unifications now that Lomachenko is officially out of the way and not holding the motherfucking strap hostage? We got Shakur Stevenson's worthless fight. Sorry to say that, but that shit is absolutely worthless to me. I'm not sorry to say that, but I say sorry to say that to anybody who, likes that fight. Whatever 7 people may be anticipating that fight. But he got his fight, next month. What the fuck is going to be happening after this Zepeda fight is what my eyes are on. I don't give a damn about Zepeda. What's happening after that? Hopefully he wins that fight. Because what people call the Devin Haney curse seems to be in full swing, you guys. Facts or no? Devin Haney curse is in full swing. But real talk, the Devin Haney curse is really just life. Because that's what happens when you're not standing in your own code. When you're not in your center. Life come around and teach you real quick. Sit you down real quick. Get you realigning and rethinking things real quick. Keshan is getting his fucking wake-up call, baby. Took 48 hours for him to fall flat on his goddamn ass in front of the world. Same thing happened to goddamn, Devin Haney, curse done hit Richard Hitchinson, done hit Regis Prograis, done hit, I don't know how many goddamn people out here. But it's in full effect. Interesting time at hand in boxing. And the lessons seem to be coming around quick, fast. And I'm wondering if moving forward, the lessons will be learned from by these particular boxers. And if not, how we intend to move forward as a boxing community that supports these people. Are we going to continue to allow these things to go under the rug, unscathed, unnamed, untalked about? Or is some accountability finally going to be pushed into the forefront and demanded to be met from the fighters, from ourselves? Are we going to have a demand for our own integrity as, our own independent media outlets to speak truthfully and honestly and unabashedly about the things that we see? That's the type of time that I'm on all the time. No chaser. Are we going to be ready to call people out who are not standing on their square? Are we going to seek to change any falsities within the narratives? Any biases within the narrative that do not serve, that do not uphold? We got to be willing to do that as a boxing community. We got to do better. That's what this whole Keshan situation showed me. Doing better. Because what we do have, whatever fragments we do have left of the boxing that we know, is quickly going asunder if left to lead this direction, to lead this path. It will go asunder. And I'm not having that. Let me check in with my people. I know there's been a very weighted discussion, you guys, but we had to go in on this. I knew there was going to be a lot to talk about, but I want to check on my people. Hold up. I got some super chats. I got to show love to the people standing 10 toes in the super chat. Hold on one second. Let's see who we got here. We got some love today in the super chat. I appreciate it, you guys. Anthony Latham, thank you so much. He says, this is a strong indicator to highlight the difference between men raised poorly and those raised right. Mason brothers equals structure. Davis sisters equals emotions. Damn, facts. Not the Davis sisters. Well, I hear you, King Anthony. Thank you so much. We got the King 78, the general in the building. One of the wonderful pillars of this entire boxing landscape and commentary. One of the kings of boxing commentary. Thank you so much, King 78. I appreciate you in the building joining me. Big, big love to the King's Freedom's March. Also in the super chat, he says, apparently Coon Sean is saying he's being set up and villainized. Are you kidding me, King? What? Coon Sean is saying that he's being set up and villainized. No contrition or accountability at all. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? I haven't been on social media in a couple of hours, so I'm going to have to check out what's going on with that. But what? Now he's trying to say that he is being villainized and victimized and set up because you decided to go fucking put your hands on a man who won a boxing match against your brother? Oh my God. You really can't make this stuff up. Salute to the King Nata 86. Salute Nata. He says, salute SugarFreeMars and salute to the mighty LDBC. Keep cooking, Queen. Thank you so much, King Nata. Always wonderful to have you in the building. Big love to Tequila Fields in the building. She says, is there any drug-free competition in or around 147? Interesting. She says, they're awfully quiet. Devin's 365 24/7 got them unnerved. Salute to the warrior queen, Sugar Free. Thank you, my beautiful sister Tequila. Very interesting question as well. You know, I don't hear nobody joining anything, close remotely to anything, like the 24/7 365 programs. Devin Haney is the only fighter in the world, signed up to this particular program, showing this level of dedication to his sportsmanship, to clean athleticism and safe for all, athleticism to the best of, his ability, of course, you know what I'm saying, without any extra, risks involved, that could cause a threat, any potential threat to the life of his fellow sportsmen. So he's the only one that I know of as of now, sister. Okay. And that says a lot about the sport in general. Definitely should be a hell of a lot more goddamn names on that list, if you ask me. Salute to my twin, Daryl Anderson, in the building with the super chat. Thank you. He says, just adding color to the chat, the twin Sugar Free just dropped a super Kamehameha on the foolishness of boxing. Damn, King. Thank you so much, my twin. Appreciate the love and support. As always, you already know what time it is. Oh my goodness, my sister, the queen. Nate J is in the building, one half of the beautiful queens of boxing talk. She says, flame 'em, sugar. Thank you so much, my beautiful sister. And salute to Glenn Mickens in the super chat as well. Yes, you guys, definitely appreciate the love. Definitely appreciate you all on deck for the conversation. We got to talk. We got to talk. We can't be afraid to have these types of conversations. We cannot be afraid of these types of things. You know what I'm saying? The open dialogue is here and on deck for all of us to have, all of us that really care, about these fighters, whether they are, being misaligned or not. You know what I'm saying? It isn't necessarily the fact that, let's say, for example, with the whole fiasco of Keshan Davis, that he did something as disgraceful and absolutely outrageous and unthinkable as he has done and displayed along with his brothers. You know what I'm saying? These things, happen. These people are not superheroes, as I have said time and time again. They are not superheroes. And so in this instance, he isn't removed from that notion either, because he has exemplified something so derogatory. But, at the same time, we have to be honest about the accountability. I know that the pressure is not going to be one size fits all. Me, I'm very heavy. You know what I'm saying? So my pressure is going to be different. But I could understand, where some people are like, well, he just needs prayer. Or some other people may just be like, well, maybe he just needs time to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Me, you're going to get all of this work. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, overall, what I hope of him of the future is that he gets it together for his own good. You know what I'm saying? That he rescind, any level of participation in the buffoonery, in the foolishness, for his own sake and for his own grace. That's as a sportsman and beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Because there is no potential for him to succeed or thrive while working within that type of mind frame. And I hope the same goes as far as, his brothers are concerned as well, and whatever aspects of that family dynamic as well. You know what I'm saying? They just had a pedestal at this particular point where in front of the world, they exemplified something that we may have a lot of dismay towards. You know what I'm saying? But people do this shit on all types of levels every day, big and small. It's just that he had a crazy camera on him. He's a notable figure. He's somebody that droves and droves of people have gotten behind. And so, the weight is magnified, to that, much of a degree. But, yet and still accountability is in his lap. Accountability must be had, and he must reckon with all of these types of things, as every man and woman does in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Retrace your steps. Get back if you can, and if not, be honest about that too. Say, hey, if it's too much pressure, there's too much pressure. You know what I'm saying? I have a family, I have a whatever. Let me sit back and rethink things. Whether it's about my continuance in the sport or otherwise. But the superhero dumb, I think, is what drove him to the point, which is why earlier in our discussion, I had mentioned that, the popularity and the pompousness that comes with the level of popularity and fame and success and attention that he's garnered is what had allowed him to think that something like this would be okay. You know what I'm saying? It's the same crudeness and pompousness that allowed Ryan Garcia to get by the way that he did. It's the same thing that allows T.O. and all the other examples that we could point out to, think that they could have the platform and the foundation to do something like that on. So that the weight is spread through and through. You know what I'm saying? And it's a problem, it's an issue because people are prioritizing, this popularity and, followers and all of this other shit over the legacy. The issue is that the legacy is not the focal point, because if it were, people would be standing on business. People would be standing on business because they understand that they have a target and an aim that is important. They are not thinking that now. They have no importance outside of the charade of being a spectacle of popularity. Having the 5 minutes of fame, having the 15 minutes of attention on them. That's the focus of these people. That's why the balance is absolutely uneven right now. There is no balance. There's an imbalance among these particular fighters. And that's why it's so imperative that we uphold people like Abdullah Mason, that we uphold people like Devin Haney, that we uphold People like David Benavidez, who's one of my favorite fighters, but he fucked up in the past as well. You know what I'm saying? He missed weight in the past. You know what I'm saying? But he got his shit together. Look where he is now. You know, his warriorship, his legacy, his sportsmanship and valor, and the upholding of his family name is important to him. That's why Benavidez can stand 10 toes the way he did. Even people like David Morrell, you know what I'm saying, who gave us a wonderful fight alongside David Benavidez earlier this year. People like Chris Eubank Jr., who put on a hell of a goddamn performance against Conor Benn. The men of righteousness heart, the men of valor heart are here. We got to make sure that we support them, and we got to make sure that we don't allow people who want to uphold the bullshit to reprimand and falsely castigate and downgrade the importance of uprightness in the sport. Because that's what they are doing when they are trying to berate and censure Devin Haney publicly. What they are doing is berating the uprightness of the sport. They're berating the uprightness of the sport by going at Devin Haney the way that they do. They're upholding bullshit by celebrating a drug cheat like Ryan Garcia. It's a backwardness. And we got to be unapologetic about calling that shit out when it rears its head. How the fuck is it that you're going to try to downgrade somebody like Devin Haney of spectacular, superior sportsmanship and uphold a filthy drug cheating racist coward like Ryan Garcia? Or choose to remain silent about the disgusting, constant, incessant drug cheating going on in the stable of Eddie Reynoso and his gym. They put their silence there. They put their support there. They don't put their support on the uprightness. That's what we are talking about. That's the imbalance and the rot beneath the surface that we need to work on. Because that's what's going to change the trajectory and ensure the health of the sport moving forward. But, yeah, let me see what else y'all are thinking about. I know I've been here for a long time. I don't want to hold y'all too long. Let me see what else my people are talking about. Salute to the King Raul Garcia. I see you. A1 Henry in the building. I see somebody named A1 Henry. Salute to you. Let me see. The King Uncommon. Salute to you if I didn't see you in the building, King. I went up a little bit. You says, I'm waiting to see how Abdullah responds once boxing ends. It's a love affair with him and shows him its true racist colors. I'm waiting to see how he handles that. Exactly, King. That's exactly why I posited, something to that degree earlier. 1000%. How is he going to handle that? Because surely if he's standing 10 toes, not only in his sportsmanship, but if he is a man, unmovable, unshakable, within his, not only his faith, of course, but also within his culture, then, surely that's going to ruffle some feathers in the boxing world. Boxing world don't tend to like people, black elite men, unapologetic about things like that. And so, I can't say that I want that to happen for him, but I would not be surprised if in the future, as he continues to build and amass a level of success for himself and establishes his elite form in the sport, that they will develop that love-hate relationship with him, as we have seen time and time again, as it pertains to black elite males. You know what I mean? That's a very real reality. And how he's going to handle that is definitely going to be interesting to see. Will he fold and cower like Sambo goddamn Bradley and start shucking and jiving? Or is he going to stand 10 toes like the young king Devin Haney, Bill Haney, and, stand on business, stand on code, regardless of what the people say. Stay dedicated to the form and to the craft and to the legacy. Gonna be interesting indeed. He definitely has a huge future ahead of him. So definitely got to give my congrats to the King Abdullah Mason. Congrats to Nahir Albright. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunate circumstances that took place with him, that he had to, ride his defeat and have it so short-lived, in the moments of the imbecility of Keshan and his brothers. But salute to him on his victory. If they need to run it back, I don't even know if he want to give that man an opportunity. It seems like he was open to it. At least the coach, I think that was his coach. I heard his coach say something like, you know, we could run it back in Philly if they want to get it back. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Salute to De Los Santos and his team for standing 10 toes and learning from the situation of Devin Haney last year. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the prioritizing of the fighters' health and safety and taking those measures to not be swayed by the money and saying, listen, we don't trust, the hands. We don't trust his health in the hands of somebody so careless like Keshan Davis, who was grinning and making a mockery in front of him and stuff like that, and almost betting that he was going to take the fight no matter what. I'm glad that they rescinded, and opted for the safety to be held as a priority of De Los Santos. So salute to him. You know what I mean? And salute to all the boxing fans in the building today. Of course, my family, Daryl Anderson, No Cap Entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Cameron Fields, my beautiful sister Shaquilla Fields, Uncommon, Stephen X, of course, the King 78 who joined us, my beautiful sister Nick J, all the brothers and sisters in the building, 10 Toes, the King Freedom's March, the King David, Snacks B, I see you, the King No Cap, all of y'all, real boxing fans, the great Mike, always 10 Toes in the building, cannot forget the great Mike, you know what I'm saying? I really covet these types of conversations and dialogue. We are a very well-versed boxing community. We are not only here on the SugarFreeMars platform, but we are on the King, the beautiful King Champ Sides platform. We are on the King, beautiful King BFTB's platform. We are on the General, the beautiful General's platform, the King Drew Titan, and wherever else we may circulate, the Queens of Boxing Talk, and all the people who are out here sending toes with real boxing commentary. That opens the platform for discourse to be had unabashedly. Where we could ask questions, where we could present needs of accountability, where we could present our demands and think about, the things that we want to see as far as the future of boxing, as well as upholding the fighters, that we love and that we are in support of. This types of thing is very crucial to the development of the sport, and hopefully the fighters can respect and appreciate that. There is a community base here and all of these other places, that look to establish that, all because we are in support of the art of this thing that we love called boxing, this beautiful art of warriorship and valor. It's necessary because real talk, we are all fighting in our own lives. Real talk. You know what I mean? We are all fighters in our own lives, fighting for something. You know what I mean? In our own way. And so that's why I tend to gravitate so heavily towards boxing, is because I respect and admire the warrior spirit. That's just the type of person that I am. So I salute it here because in my life, that's the type of level of valor that I look to uphold wherever I'm stepping, as I'm always saying. So salute to everybody in the building. Big, big love. I think I'm going to end it here. I don't want to hold you guys too long. I know I've been kind of going on and on. Been a very, very packed week, right? Action-packed week. I hope everybody is doing well. The King Stormy B-Man is in the building. I did not see you, King Stormy. Salute to the King Stormy. He said, once again, I'm left out. I'm so sorry. I was scrolling and I just touch random names as I'm scrolling. I did not even know you were in the building, let alone, to be able to bypass you in the chat. Salute to the King, the beautiful, great King, the wise King, Stormy B-Man, in the building. Always 10 toes on deck. I appreciate you, King. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, my goodness, Stormy, please forgive me. 10 toes for the King Stormy, y'all. Big, big love to everybody in the building who joined. Always appreciate the love and support. And I think I'm going to end it here, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. I will be in touch with you in the community page, as I always love to do. Keep an eye out in case I drop some, commentary outside of the week. Also, maybe explicating other aspects that I picked up on concerning these particular matters. I may have another angle or a thought that I wanted to touch on that I didn't get to today, of course, because we don't have all the time in the world to discuss it for 8 hours on end. So keep in touch with me in the community page. Definitely hit the thumbs up on your way out. Keep supporting and showing love, you guys. 10 toes on deck all the time. That's it for me. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.